Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind, and that's that Christmas is coming, and even if you don't celebrate Christmas, December is a very heavily monetized sort of push for consumption. And so gift giving is heavily prevalent and mentioned, and it's coming up November, December, and it's going to just keep ramping up and picking up speed with sales and flyers and different people talking about stuff, depending on where you receive your media, whether that be TV, radio, newspaper, mailings that come to your door, to your house, in your mailbox. But I wanted to talk about, I found this thing, I'm going to throw it up. It's called the Hierarchy of Needs. And this was created, I have a bunch of tabs open, so I'm going to try and make sure that I am attributing this correctly. I saw this on Pinterest, and so I went on to Google to see who created this. And this is from Sarah Lazarvorek, and she created this. So at the bottom, like, use what you have, borrow, swap, thrift, make, buy. Buy is the last step. I think this is really, really great to keep as a reminder. If you want to screen capture this, I will link her webpage, and it's right on the front. So it says on her webpage that you're free to share, print, or tattoo this on your person if you want to. That she created this, and I just think it's a really great reminder for those of us doing a low-buy art supply, or if you're doing a no-buy art supply, or if you're just on a limited income, if you're sticking to a budget, if you're trying to figure out what your budget's going to look like for the upcoming holiday season or any major gift-giving season that you or your culture or family, friends celebrate. This is a great thing to keep in mind. I am going to an art supply swap tomorrow, which is why I brought all this up. And I am looking and trying to figure out, my community is hosting this. Excuse me, my community is putting this on. This isn't something that I came up with. This is not something that I am spearheading. I don't have the kind of time for that. But I was looking to see if your community doesn't do one, where you could find resources to sort of make that happen. And I made some notes. So Facebook Marketplace, the Nextdoor app, Craigslist, going and questions through your local art galleries or smaller museums, colleges and universities, library events, local artist studios, like your local pottery studio or things like that, or craft stores, and start inquiring if they do art swaps or if that's something that can be created by yourself. You could host one, you could create one, you could spearhead one, or it's something you can get together with some friends. So, share the load. Many hands makes lighter work. And I found a couple web pages online on how to host a craft supply swap. One is from Little Red Window, and it's by Cassie, who is a former architect and current designer. So I will link her webpage link. Another one I found is from Steph Holmes Artist Studio, and it's how to host your own secondhand art supply swap. And there's tips and ideas and things, how to spread the word. But I thought this would be like a really cool thing to go through maybe your local library and see, because a lot of times they have like little event rooms and craft rooms and stuff, and see if that's something you can get together with somebody that is in charge of sort of making sure that craft room is being booked by local folks doing crafts, and see if that's something that they could create, because a lot of libraries do like used book sales and stuff. So to host like a secondhand art supply swap would be awesome. So I'm going to link all the stuff I could find in case you want to do something like this, or if you want to post an event, or, I honestly think that this would be something that would be better for like the summer months, and then you could have like folks outside where they're spreading blankets or spreading little tables with their stuff, and people could swap and do whatever. We are in our rainy season in October. Sorry, I don't have a lot for you to look at. We're in our rainy October season, so it's going to be a very rainy art supply swap. So I am going to dress and prepare accordingly. The things I'm getting rid of, can you hear that? These are all my alcohol markers. And you're like, I've never seen you alcohol marker. Yeah, I don't alcohol marker much. There's a lot of Copic Chows. This is a really old Prismacolor that still works. And I have some blenders in here. I was gonna sell these on like eBay, and I thought, gosh, I should just give it away. And then this art supply swap came up, and I've been holding on to this for like over a year, and I just couldn't decide what to do with it. It just felt weird to try and sell these when I know the price of things is outrageous right now, and I know people are having a hard time financially right now, and I know people are trying to monetize their hobbies and some of their craft things to help supplement groceries and housing bills and all that stuff. So if you're trying to figure out a second income and you're using your love for art as that, and you've realized that the cost and price of art supplies is astronomical. It just is. And it's only steadily increased over the last 20 years, 25 years. I've been looking at prices. Everything just kind of slowly goes up. So there are sometimes sales and stuff, but I would really like heavily recommend trying to figure out if you can do use what you have, and if you don't have enough stuff, if you're running out, if you can borrow. Sometimes colleges and universities, my old university had a lending library for artists and design students, and see if that's something that you can tap into, even if you're not a student. All they can say is no. It doesn't hurt to ask. And then art supply swaps. Figure out if you can do a swap. Figure out if you're thrift stores. We have like a secondhand craft store that sells like weird, not weird, weird is subjective. It sells like unique found items, and like, you know, if you go to do a cork project and you need wine corks, like they have a barrel of wine corks. Like they just have a bunch of really wild stuff you could use as crafts that you can buy because it's all gently used at a lower price. Obviously it'd be really hard to try and make some art supplies. There are ways to make like charcoal using vines. I will link some stuff. I have a Pinterest folder on some tutorials for different art supplies and different things you can use. Make as much stuff as you can. I know you can make ink from like walnuts. There's a mushroom, I think the inky cap, something. Like you can make ink from a couple things. You can make dye from fruits and vegetables. You need a mordant though to set it. So some of this stuff you can figure out and sort of use what you have in nature. I know some folks have clay on their land, on their property. It's a huge privilege right there. And they're able to then use that for their pottery. So see what you have, see what you can make, see what is available to you, and then try and reach out and swap with folks online. I mean, sometimes I will see things on Etsy and it links to like somebody's Etsy profile, and then you can find their Instagram handle, which is kind of a backward stalking thing. But if you can contact somebody and be like, hey, you sell and make XYZ, I can make ABC. Do you want to do a swap? Do you want to like try and do that? And see like if monetarily it kind of matches, you know? If you want like a $150 watercolor palette and you want to trade at $20 charcoals, I'm using US dollar, that's not really an even swap, but something of similar monetary value. And start reaching out to creators that like make art supplies and see what you can trade and swap, see what you can make, see what you can do, see what you can buy. This is a really old, I don't even know if Copic makes these anymore. The staples have rusted. You have to use stainless steel staples where I live or thing rusts. So I have a book to go with these pens where I filled out like the colors I have. I don't have a lot, but I'm not using these. So I'm gonna swap those. And then I have a couple like traditional photography things. I don't know if you're familiar, like with darkroom stuff and using filters. I don't know if anybody would want this, but if there's somebody from the university, from the photography program, if I run into a guy I know, I'm just going to give this to him and he can give this to one of his students. If you've ever taken a traditional photography darkroom class, the prices are really, really high. I took this class, oh gosh, over 20 years ago, and the price per sheet of paper, of photography development paper, was about $1 a sheet. And I think I spent, because I came in with my own manual, fully manual traditional camera, I didn't have to buy anything in that regard, but I had to buy all the paper and all the other stuff. I think I spent, oh, hold on. Sorry about that. I record on the weekends. My neighbor has a motorcycle. Hi, neighbor. I adore you. Please be safe. Okay. Anyway, I think I spent close to about $300 US for one college class of developing and taking traditional photography. And this is all I have left from that. So again, I don't know that anybody's going to want this. So I'll just give it away. I'll just give it away. I know these classes are really expensive, and I feel the same way about the pens. Like, if there's nothing there that I can use, that I know I can use, that's a supply that I genuinely enjoy and it will mesh into what I already have, then I'm giving this stuff away, because the price of stuff out there, just paying it forward. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels really weird to be like holding on to something I don't use. And I bought these in 2018. I saw an artist that was really good with alcohol markers, and I was like, oh, I love that. Not fully realizing the bleeding capacity for these pens. So a lot of my sketchbooks just would not work with these pens. You need a thicker paper, or you need, you know, some sort of sheet protector. And the smell, like, there was just a bunch of things, and the learning curve, like, I just had time, and I was like, I need to have a window open if I'm going to use these, because I don't care for the smell so much. And 6 months out of the year, I can't open the window because it's just pouring rain. So we are here with the rains. So I really hope somebody can use this. I'm going to, on Monday, which is what, the 27th of October, when I do my Plan With Me video, I will throw up some photos. I'm not going to take pictures of anybody's face, but I will document some photos of stuff to see, like, show you kind of what it looked like where I was at a little bit without doxing myself too much. Again, I'm going to be really respectful of other people, so no faces in the photos. But I just think that you may want to see what that kind of looks like in a unique area. It's going to be an art supply swap in the rain. So I have my raincoats. I dress accordingly, and I'm going to try and live by this hierarchy of needs. And I really hope to add like one new art supply to what I already own. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So we'll see what I can do, what I can get away with, what I can swap. If I can't, maybe I can make a connection with someone for future swaps and recommend like a summer swap that isn't so rained out, because I worry that a lot of people, especially like if you have a delicate immune system or you're autoimmune compromised, it is outside, which is very smart, but trudging out in the rain sometimes deters people, especially if they're looking for rides and stuff, that maybe a summer thing might be more feasible. So, art supply swaps. I'm gonna link articles, gonna figure out how to do this. You know, I didn't see, when I was looking online, I did not see anybody doing a digital art supply swap. And I don't know how you would create a web page where you do that. It might be something that has like a buy-in cost, and then it'd have to be on like the honor system. Like I mailed this, here's a tracking number, and then the next person can, okay, now I can mail it because you have a tracking number. But that would take a lot of faith to not see some of this stuff in person, because I assume that things that are like broken, corroded, moldy, dried out, like those aren't supplies that would make it to the swap. So being really mindful, like I probably use this pen like twice, and that's being generous. So my stuff's in really good condition, minus some rust spots from some staples. So I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see. And then I'll post some pictures on Monday of what some things people were swapping. And then I'll talk about what I got or what I didn't got or who I gave stuff to if I'm just handing it out, because sometimes it's like that. I hope this gave you an idea. I hope this is just a little ounce of planting a seed for an idea of how to stick with your low buy art supply, stick with your budget. This is like the last sort of, it gets really hard. If you are doing like a January to December low buy art supply and you have, 2 months left, all of November, all of December, it gets really hard with the buying season of the holidays coming up. So sticking to that, having your reminders, put up little post-its, like just root for yourself, cheer for yourself. Every time you don't buy something, start a Pinterest folder of things I didn't buy and celebrate that. Have people that cheer you on in the community, like-minded individuals that are also sticking to a budget, that are also using what they have. Again, look into swaps. See if that's something that, you can find one within your area maybe, or you can plant the seed with somebody else in the community with little local art creator stores and stuff, and see if that's something that they would be willing to host or put on. If they've had, people inquire about that, the more people that inquire, the more likely they are to try and create something, because there's obviously a need in the community. I don't know. I'm excited. I like this hierarchy of needs. I like where it's at. I think this is a really great reminder. I will link as many things as I can in the description box. Again, there are tutorials for making some of your own art supplies. So figure out what grows in your community. And sometimes there's public gardens and things where people share. And maybe you're swapping veggies, swapping fruit, and you're dying with berries or cabbage or, something you can find at the store or something. Check out your local farms. Really dig deep. Dig deep for those budget things, because December is coming and December is a lot, and it can be really easy to lose sight of that, especially if you're going out and you tend to shop with, a family member, a friend, a sibling, whoever, and getting caught up in that buying mentality. And know who's marketing to you and know how they're presenting it, and know that they're presenting it in the best visual way that makes it look really cool, so you want to have that. And really ask yourself, do I need this? Do I need this right now? Will I need this in the next year? Okay, no. Do I want this? Do I want this right now? And is this something I'm going to use that I want to use in the next year? And really just be really brutal with these questions. Have an inventory of what you already own, and have that, on your phone in your notes app, screen capture a picture of your inventory in your workspace, in your art space, and have that photo with you as you are walking through different areas. So you can be no, I already have a roll of paper and 20 sketchbooks. This one's really cool. I will take a picture of it, and maybe in a few years it'll be on sale or whatever, and maybe I'll be into something else. So just ways to sort of figure out how to stick with your low buy for the rest of the year. There's got to be a way to do it, to root for you, and really just inventory your stuff. See how much you actually have, and then be really realistic and honest about your time. And be okay, so in 2026, what is that starting to shape up and look like? Are you entering a new chapter of your life where you have more time, or is it something where you're going to have less time? And be honest about it. Because if you're going to have less time, it's going to be harder to justify buying a ton more supplies. Okay? Because they're going to sit there, and we don't want them to sit there. We want to use our things. So I hope this video helps. I hope it gives you a couple ideas. I hope it plants a seed, and figure out if you can borrow or swap or create a little art nestled community within your community, and see if there's like-minded. You could go through Meetup and create a thing hey, let's Sunday paint out. Let's go paint on Sundays, and see within those folks what you can swap and trade and borrow, and try a new thing. Maybe you've always been curious about oil painting, and somebody will let you oil paint for a little bit with one of their sets for, and see if you genuinely like it, or if you're like, no, I don't like the drying times, I don't like the extensive chemicals with the cleanup, like that's too much for me. Really see if there's things you can borrow and trade. Because if I had borrowed a set from somebody for like a week, I would have realized this isn't for me. And that would have saved me, obviously, a lot of money. So see if you can network and connect. Sometimes there are like art fairs in the summer on the weekends, and chat and talk with people. And you know, if somebody's creating a specific style of art you really like with supplies you're interested in, ask them, like, what would you have wanted to know before you bought all these supplies? What are the things you don't like about using this supply? What are the things you do like? You know, maybe you just do sketchbook work, and so the fact that these aren't light fast isn't a big deal. You know, there's things like that. I hope this helps. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.